to give them one opportunity and they'll grab it.
Well, let's go ahead and see how this will all unfold here as we get ready for game number 4. The Battleground choice is up and available. It is going over to Team Liquid. They decided to go ahead and move into Towers of Doom and give up the first pick to Trick Esports, and they would love to play it here. Will we get the Vikings, or are we going to continue to not see them?
I actually don't know. I'm not quite sure if they're going to play the Vikings. The draft has to fit, I feel. I've seen some pretty cool games from Liquid in the past on the map here, so I mean, they have to do something else. To be honest, at the beginning of the series, they looked fantastic, and I thought, okay, this is more the Team Liquid of old. And then these inconsistencies came into play again, and Trick started to show up a lot more on the Battlegrounds. If Trick takes this, I'm really starting to be extremely afraid for Team Liquid overall. Not just simply in this series, but the way that they currently present themselves in Phase 2, Part 2 is worrisome, to say the least. From a team that has been consistently at the #1 spot, and then at least was a big part of the big 3, to see them fall this hard and this fast, this is a bit heartbreaking. They have a chance to bring it back now, but Trick has just shown that it's not going to be easy at all.
Team Liquid was hoping to come into this weekend and just be confident, know that they have had those years of being some of the best in Europe. They also had amazing phase #1, but with those 2 losses right now, do you think that doubt that we were talking about earlier is already creeping into them here in the Specify series, or do you think they'll be able to just go ahead and suppress that and keep pushing through?
I definitely think it's going to play a role. They are a very emotional team, and they talked about this as well, and I mean, you need to shake it off, but it's definitely in the back of your head.
Yeah.
The game needs to start, and they need to just like get into the zone of the game again, where you just can completely shut everything out. But right now, looking at the draft, and especially after the game directly, that's definitely something that if they don't talk about it, is on their mind.
Well, Vikings and Abler taken out. The Specialist will not be seen today. Dahaka, though, will be, as Trick Esports grab it for the first pick.
And that has to be an ETC pick now.
ETC and maybe Rhaegar?
Yeah, ETC, you can pair him here with Rhaegar. We could see an Uther combo attempting to go into Divine Shield and potentially Mosh Pit, even though if you pick ETC against Dehaka, you normally go into Stage Dive and put him to the top lane. So it depends a bit on what they are trying to aim for here. If they want to add a second tank, but at ETC, maybe even with the Vala again. They have a huge priority on Vala, as it seems. So that might be one of their thought process, but ETC has to be one of the 2, and there it is. Tassadar. Preparing for the double support.
That's right, Tassadar and ETC. Someone also to note here that we might see pop up is the Stukov. We've seen him a little bit more on Towers of Doom as Bright has been going up, as people have figured out that his silence actually affects the sappers, so it gives you a little bit more defense time.
Yeah, Stukov is definitely a hero that is being picked a lot more on the map now. It just helps you to control that bot lane so much, and he can have a big impact if used properly. But we have now in the Make special, we have him with Genji and Uther for the support. So we have Divine Shield plus Dragon Blade as a combo again.
I love watching his Genji. He's exceptional at it, but one of the reasons why he's so exceptional at it is that he talks about his teammates. His teammates really give him all of the moments for him to have that glory. They set him up for it. That Uther pick is one of those picks that allows for that to happen. The Divine Shield combo that we've seen over and over again. Nape will be there and allow him to move in with that Dragon Blade and just shred anyone on the opposing team.
Liquid currently looking towards their own bans, and of course normally we would have expected an Arthur's ban here, but given that Dehaka has already been chosen for Trick, it's a little bit less likely. Arthur's usually played by Alex, and in this setup, Alex is very likely to be the one playing Dehaka on that top lane. Now of course we have also seen Rema on Arthur's, but it's still a bit less likely than usual. Normally they're trying to attack Alex a little bit more with their bans. In this case, it's an Upurak, making sure that Rema Baller can't use him as a heavy engage here. With that Cocoon that also played a bit of a role in that last fight on Battlefield of Eternity, in particular, isolating one of the frontliners right away to give access to the backline. Tracer banned over the potential ban on either Lunara or Vala, and that allows Team Liquid again to go into a Vala composition or Lunara composition. They have shown an affinity for Vala, and they can of course continue now also with the second support.
So do we get our Vala Ariel, or do we get the Vala Stukov here from Team Liquid?
Rhaegar is also still out there.
It's true.
So you could go for Rhaegar as well. And I think their damage dealer is most likely going to be Vala once again.
Yeah. Vala and then Rhaegar. What are you thinking?
I am wondering who plays Vala this time.
Who plays Vala?
You remember what I told you this morning?
No.
Okay.
We're listening to good music. I was partially to that too.
Okay.
We got some sick beats
Alright,
this morning.
There's so much wrong with that statement. I don't even know where to begin. Let's just say that Tim has a very interesting taste for music.
I have a wide spectrum of good music. I'm going to introduce you to an American classic.
You think that's a wide spectrum?
Yeah.
It's basically 90s boy bands. That's what you listen to.
We listened to Spanish last week.
Yeah, but that
was an accidental.
that was not intentional.
I'll introduce you to one of my favorite bands, Aqua, and they sing a single called Barbie Girl. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. 4th and 5th pick coming in here for Trick Esports. We need a main tank.
Why me?
And probably some more damage. Johanna and Lunara.
All right, so Johanna, Lunara, Bambi's mom.
Is Johanna? Oh, Lunara is.
Yeah,
gotcha,
Lunara.
gotcha.
I got a lot of flack because people keep telling me that Bambi is male, which I still think is a hoax. It's an alternative fact. It's actually like a big lie. It's a
There's only 2 movies out there to prove that's true.
It's a conspiracy. So yeah, I'm just gonna call Lunara Bambi's mom, and when she dies again, then yeah.
I like it. It's a good adjustment. It's a good way to sidestep the entire issue. Outplayed, everyone.
GG. You tried and you failed. So this is really the moment where you have to decide if you want to have ETC as the main tank, yes or no. Because if he's the main tank, then he can peel for Vala a lot better, and you have that mosh pit. But then you need someone that can take over the top lane for you.
Yeah.
And because you can't spec into stage dive anymore. So then's the question, who do you set up at the top lane? And then we could, for example, see Malthael being played again. But they go into Tyrael. So that's even more peel, actually, for Vala. That's quite a bit, especially when Genji starts to engage. You can drop a Sanctification and help out. But yeah, that leaves us with Tyrael at the bot lane and ETC taking the top.
So, going into game number 4 here, Team Liquid and Trick Esports facing off, and we don't have anything too wonky happening, just pure Team Liquid showing off what they think is a pretty strong setup. They love their Vala play. Will it be enough here on Towers of Doom, Caldor? Can they pull deep and get it done?
If Nuro plays Vala, alright, I'm saying they take it.
Knock on the Vala.
I took a peek.
Right.
I want to see something from him.
Okay, we'll see if we'll get that special something
No,
from
but
him.
seriously, I want a 5th game between these guys.
Yeah.
We had, they met 3 times in HGC history so far. 2 times it was a 3-2 victory in favor of Team Liquid, and then the last time they met each other, it was a 3-0 sweep by Trick. And I really want to see that 5-mapper again. I think that Liquid had a cool approach to Battlefield of Eternity. Didn't work out for them. Trick showed some excellent play. I loved what they did on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and I would be sad if this doesn't go to 5-map. So I want a 5-mapper, but again, anything could happen here. Towers is a great map. Both have good drafts. We have the market special with Genji. So there's a lot of cool aspects on both sides, and I'm ready for the game.
Yeah, that's the fear for me, is that we do have the Maka special on the left side, and every time we get Maka on the Genji, it feels like it's an auto win for the team. They do such a good job of really enabling him to be effective. Maka, when it comes to aggressive heroes that have high mobility, just shreds the competition, it feels like. So it is going to be a difficult match here for Team Liquid, but if anyone can do it, they can. Let's go ahead into game number 4 here. Will Team Liquid tie it up and we'll go to a game 5, or will Trick Esports earn the victory?
We're gonna find out right now. Towers of Doom is the map, as we have to the left Knappe on Uther for Tricked Esports, Remaballer on Johanna, Crosby on Lunara. We're seeing the Haka being played by Alex the Frog and Make on Genji once again.
On the right side, in the red, Team Liquid. Nurok is playing Navala, Blumby is playing Tyrael, gonna have Splendor playing Rhaegar, Hossabs on the Tassadar, and Darkmog will show off ETC once again this series.
Yeah, Darkmog on ETC is going to be the laner up at the top, so he's actually the person that will be able to mirror the Haka's movements, and that is most likely going to extend to stage dive once again, so that they can mirror the global. With Vala being the main damage dealer, supported by Tassadar and Rhaegar, she's also, of course, a huge focus target for Tricked Esports later on in these fights. And as we said before, this is the weekend where Team Liquid is either going to crush and burn or rise as a phoenix of the ashes. Tricked in this game has the lead, and Remaballer is surviving. A lot of pressure on him, nearly dying here, but able to move out. Oh, nice interrupt by Hazo actually on the on the quick B back on the Hearthstone, delaying it a little bit further and buying them time. But Team Liquid definitely a lot more aggressive heading into game number 4.
Fancy. That aggression started out with ETC seeing that Iron Skin had to be utilized in the middle of the map. The moment it did finish off, we saw him go for the power slide, but the drag from Alex the Proji actually kept Romero alive. There was a spot where Johanna would have been picked off, but he anchored his team well with the drag and then went back to the top lane. So already, we're seeing our two teams going at the bat here, looking for those fights. Bala might get caught out of position here to come in for the rotation, but was actually all an elaborate plan as a Nape will get picked up.
Yeah, that was initially a really good thought to try and go for Vala here with the rotation. Didn't really account for the rest of the team to follow up and help her out here, so that was definitely something they didn't see coming. Good kill for Team Liquid, and them definitely gaining momentum in the early stages now. Trying, of course, to also get the camps, and with the Sappers now taken, they're immediately going straight for their own. Might even be able to sneak over and invade, but nope, Trick commits 3 of their heroes to their own camp, so they should be able to get this done in time. But Maka actually moved out. Knapp, on the other hand, is now moving into helping to anchor in the bush as Ramabola completes the camp.
Yep, Maka making sure that Team Liquid couldn't rotate over, dropping off a couple of harassment shurikens. We're going to have Maka working on this bottom side with 4 people here as Rhaegar, Vola, and Tyrael are hoping to get the Sappers moving.
All right, here we go.
Oh, snap.
Nurok takes Creed of the Hunter, the talent that I probably hate more than anything else in this entire game. And this is exactly what I wanted to see from him. And this is actually... Creed of the Hunter is a talent that usually doesn't get a whole lot of value because it takes most players to complete it. It just takes ages to complete, and during all the time, especially when you fall behind, you have a massive, massive problem at your hand and will probably never really get value. The one case when you can make a good argument for Creed of the Hunter is if you have double support and you have 2 tanks, which is exactly what happens here. And I have actually seen him play this particular setup, as we already see him getting stack after stack here in that big fight over the bottom altar here. And the cool thing about this is that he completes it so fast. The last time I saw him was 6 minutes in. And even his team told him, what the hell are you doing? Stop taking that talent. And they actually destroyed in that scrim. And it was him playing absolutely fantastic. I'm absolutely sold on Nurok when he's supported by a double support and the 2 tanks. And just in that last engagement, he already had now 25 of those stacks. So it's really... Are you aggressive with your composition? Is your team able to help you complete it? And also, are you aggressive? Because if you fall behind, then completing it is most likely not going to happen, and you are very likely to lose the game. But Nurok, I was extremely impressed seeing him on the talent, so I really want to see what they can get done with the auto attack build here. And I'm actually even a bit surprised that they are willing to commit to its risk in this pivotal match.
We'll see how it's going to work out for them. Remember, when he does finish all 100 basic attacks there, he gets the 100 stacks, he'll be able to get an additional 2% per a hatred stack on his basic attack, so able to chunk people. But again, you do have to finish the quest first before the talent even comes on the line. Now, this is something that can be utilized against multiple melees if you have the chance to have no mobility. And look at it, you have the Johanna and the Dahak on the opposing side, so you are guaranteed a couple of auto attacks in, especially with that hot pursuit being up. So I can see why he's moving into it with the double support backing him up.
Yeah, it's more so also about the comp that they play. As I said, you need the double support and you need 2 frontliners, and the frontliner need to be able to peel. That's why ETC is so important, and that's why also Tyrael is here. If you play without it, then the aggression that you show, because you want to get these stacks and because you have to deliver auto attacks even after you complete it, will always put you in spots where your opponent can take you down and exploit it. And again, this talent has, I think, the most horrible win ratio ever in competitive play, but I've actually seen it in a few scrims where Nurok played it extremely well. Even his team doubted it, and they were able to turn around. Not a guarantee that they're going to win, but it's definitely a bit of a different approach. They lose Tacita now as the altars are activating, though, and that's already a slight setback as we're heading into the next one. But keep in mind that this is only the second phase, the second altar phase in this game.
Already here, a couple of shots activating in the next couple of seconds. Nurok taking the pressure on the back side. Clint's coming out from Splendor, able to walk away, but he's still low on health. With 2 altars being up, 1 in the middle and 1 in the bottom, we're going to see how our teams move in and aggressively try to set them up. This is also a spot where you can get a few more stacks in if you delay around the altar. Maybe not even getting the altar is the goal, just trying to work in those auto attacks. Remember, on the bottom side, drop it in the harass.
they definitely try to go for the altars. Like, yes, you want to get stacks, but you are not sacrificing the game just so you complete a dress talent.
Well, I'm just saying it brings everyone to that area so you can work in those stacks.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that the focus of Trick is already on Nurok, and with the blinds coming from Baller, that can have a very annoying effect later. So Nurok overall is going to be a focus in these fights. They know that the main damage comes from him, so blinding him is going to be key. And also, they are going to try and make his life a lot harder once that they have Dragon Blade and Divine Shield up. So that is definitely something to consider here too. He's, at this point, definitely having less of an impact than if he would have gone into an Arrow build or into a Multi-Shield hybrid. His build really comes online once that these stacks are taken. And at this point, we're 6 minutes into the game and he sits at 60, but we're going to talk about that soon enough. ETC still up at the top, as we have the Haka in the middle. So the two globals, or soon-to-be globals, are currently doing their best at soaking, whereas the rest of the team is committed to that 4 versus 4 at the bot lane.
Both teams working on their 10 here. A little bit more experience. We'll have eSports hit the 10 first, as Team Liquid is about a half a level behind them. Harassment continues on the bottom side with a 4-on-4 as ETC and Dahaka just hold those middle lanes and the top lanes. No sappers to grab, so again, the name of the game is at level 10 as we'll be getting ready for our next altar phase, which should be spawning up pretty darn soon.
Now the 10 is in for Tricked, and this time it's Blessed Shield for Johanna. Doesn't have the combo with Syndragosa and the Falling Sword that we've seen a little bit earlier. Makes way more sense to go for the lockdown attempts against Vala in particular, of course, during these fights. And we have Divine Shield now also claimed with Thornwood Vines on Lunara for the range poke. And the 10s for Team Liquid with Stage Dive as expected on ETC to mirror the Haka's movements on the map. And of course, the Sanctification.
One ult to the top left, one to the top right. 20 seconds for them both to be popping in for our teams to grab them. Should see Dahaka potentially rotate to the bottom side, start getting that pushed in. Not using the Broadstalker though, wants to walk down there, that way he can use Broadstalker to come up to the lane. Make and crew are working on the harassment in the middle side, and 8 seconds is up. We're going to have our first fight of the game. It looks like major fight.
Yeah, we are at this point just going once again for... I would actually say that they are just going to simply go for the trade here. I would expect no big fight, just a little bit of a skirmish here. But normally with this particular setup, you're always seeing the trade. It's just the safest thing they can go for.
Yeah, there it is. 1 for 1 for both of our teams. Haka actually got a little bit more experience there on the bottom side. ETC was actually in that fight, so all 5 in the top side, Team Liquid was able to grab their altar, so it was Tricked.
Look how Nurok is never really getting baited. He always tries to get a few shots in, but he's never getting baited too far. Whenever he sees, okay, it's not working out, they're moving back, he just simply gives up and moves back a little bit. He's just dancing around, making sure that he's not all alone at the front, that there's always people to save him. And he is currently at 88 stacks, so he doesn't hit that crazy mark that I've seen him hit in the past. But 8.5 minutes in, he's still doing solid work here. He always has to keep, of course, also the 10 Hatred stacks up so that he's in a position where he has that added movement speed and has the mobility. And that's also what he needs to do for his quest talent then later. The build really does not only come online with the level 4 talent completed, but even more so if you are hitting the late game. If you can go into, for example, Farflight Quiver, if you have your Manticore set up, then that's when Baller is going to definitely have a problem. Here comes the Stage Dive already, Ancestral being used to keep Nurok alive. They're going in, Sanctification is on the ground. Here come the blinds once more. Manmake is low, needs to be careful. Blummy, on the other hand, is also getting punished.
Both teams haven't lost a single member yet. Blummy's still low on health. Alex Aproji on the backside gets a tongue on Nurok as well. Nape comes in for the stun. Remember bringing out the damage as well. And Genji will actually be the one to fall as Nurok kites back, living just barely. Hungering Arrow also being utilized.
Nurok going full boss mode here. It's a 2-for-1 trade, but he went a bit too far out and that resulted in him getting jacked. That was actually a big problem, but they were able to save him. He's still punishing everyone up at the front. He has completed Creed of the Hunter as his talent and is starting to rack up the damage here. He's level 13, of course, also gonna be helping him a lot, potentially heading into the sustain here with even more auto attack heals. But he needs now in these fights to make sure that he keeps his stacks up as much as he can to pressure the 2 frontliners that we're seeing for Trick Esports.
Altar spawning in 10 seconds. Only one will spawn here in the middle. The next one will be the 3 altar phase that we've been seeing so often. Both of our teams neck and neck in experience and very close in core shots. 28-24 with Trick being in the lead as they have 4 more over their opponents. With Heroics coming back online in about 10 to 20 seconds depending on who you're looking at, Trick eSport and Team Liquid are in a spot where they can get into a fight.
Tempered by Discipline now taken for Norok. The 13 talents for both of the teams, and the focus is really on Vala here as the stage dive comes in once again. They're trying to go for Rema, but the Iron Skin is being popped. Alex in the backline looking for the drag, not finding it yet. Lot of poison damage here. Norok gets the shield again and dodges quickly against the Tong and immediately turns around to try and punish Alex.
Alex, low on essence now, needs to work away, get some heals from his teammates. Make goes in for the harass, will hit Darkmark who was channeling. The altar does get stopped. Blumby moves forward. Sanctification in 9 seconds. Vala has been killed as Trick found a way to get in. Divine Shield, Make is just shredding. 3, 4, another person maybe going down the top right. Can he get Blumby and Hasselwops?
Alex looking for the drag. Hazu about to fall. Drag not hitting yet, but they're going in and they're getting Tacita. Genji finds the opening, takes Vala down. The Ancestral just not in time to save her. Half a second too late, and with Genji eliminating Vala, the main damage dealer is gone, and then shots are fired all over the place. With Tricked Esports moving through the bot lane, putting the pressure onto Team Liquid, and about to take down one of the bell towers.
That's right, the shots aren't the worst of it. The map control, losing that hurts Team Liquid here. There it goes, gonna be picked off on the side. They'll have HGC and Vala to work on it whenever they have the chance here. Dahaka, though, was already pushing in the middle and working on 16. That's the big issue, too. They fall heavily behind in experience. Remember, just a few 45 seconds ago, we were tied.
Yeah, and this is a big problem with this, because you have great damage against the single targets, but once you have this setup and Vala falls, then there's just nothing that you can do anymore in these fights. And that was a big issue. Not having the shields ready to save Vala here, Nuruk just being a little bit too far out. Marcus sees the opportunity, takes it, and immediately gets that kill, and that now has pushed Team Liquid far, far behind as they are trying to reclaim the bell tower in the bot lane, but in the middle another one is about to fall. Trick has moved in and is now trying to out-rotate their opponents.
No, bell tower down, Tyrael anchoring the bush here. We'll see if Trick is coming down for the fight. Does see them, so he goes in for the escape. While Team Liquid is working on controlling the waves here. They want to get their 16 and try to slow down their opponent.
Yeah, level 16 would be big, especially since Vala then of course has access to also Manticore and can start to put the extra damage towards the front line. But it is definitely getting rough for them. Tricked is now setting some... They set themselves up for an earlier 20, they're getting farther and farther ahead here. And they are also working now on that bottom bell tower once more. HGC has moved into the mid lane and tries to reclaim the middle one, but it's going to be a slow process for him. And of course, by now we have the next altar phase active on the map, and this is the triple altar.
The triple altar, one on the bottom, one top left, and one top right. Still half a level needed for Team Liquid to get their experience back. Getting that 4 in the middle will be helpful, but Tricked moves in as they're working on the bell tower and even looking for a fight. Putting pressure on Nurk on the right side. He's getting low, but the Ancestral will be utilized.
ETC is stage dived into the back. They're trying to go for Crosby, and Crosby is already incredibly low, and he might actually fall, but the Divine Shield goes through. Vala is dead again as we see the commitment on the side of Trick, but they lose Genji. It's a trade in damage dealers. The problem is that Lunara is still there, but Crosby is so low that it doesn't matter. He can't participate in the fight anymore. Now Uther has died too, and Alex is barely moving out up to the top. They're trying to still get both of the bell towers thanks to their global.
Johanna slowing down the rotation. Rhaegar in mount form is able to move on in. Can he get the bite on Crosby? If he gets the bite, he's going to kill her too. Crosby does get away from the fight, so Lunara is living for now. But Team Liquid does get into a spot here where they can look for another altar. Yeah,
they're trying to get the second one, and Alex is going to have a rough time interrupting that again. So that is actually the saving grace of Team Liquid here, that at least for now they're able to get 2 altars, or it looks like they will. Hazorps is zoning Lunara out even more, but it looked for a long time as if Tricked is getting both. And now we have 4 more shots fired, so we look at Team Liquid on 16 hit points on the core and Tricked Esports on 20. Very close game indeed, and by now we have level 17 also on the side of TL, which means that we have now Vala with Manticore. We have the Holy Ground available, the Psionic Echo even, which is of course such a great tool to soften targets up. Earthgrass Totem and the aggressive shredding for the cooldown reduction on ETC's guitar solo.
What an exciting game so far as we are neck and neck here. Experience moving to level 18. Team Liquid a little bit behind so far with 4 shots and a little bit on the experience, but still heavily in this game. Nurok vaulting forward. Make jumps straight on top of him, brings up the damage. A Rain of Vengeance will be used to stop the deflecting, but here comes Alex Aproji. They know they need to get on that back line.
Yeah, and Alex needs to be super careful here because Vala with Manticore is starting to really chunk out these hit points and do it fast. Nurok is already at it, trying to do exactly that, but the stuns come out against Blumby, and once again we're seeing Genji jumping into the backline. Dartmok is low, so is Splendor. First kill, second, the resets are kicking in as Make is just obliterating everybody, going for the quad kill and annihilating Team Liquid.
Only Tassadar stands here for Team Liquid, and Tricked eSport kills the bell tower, heads to the middle lane, and now they have multiple options. Kill the bell tower in the middle, get level 20 set up. They can even move in for a boss, get a few more shots, but for now it's all about map control. Grab the bell tower in the middle, and Dahaka's head in the top and start working on it there.
Make is absolutely on fire here right now. Lunara softening the targets up, getting the poison damage in, and then when he sees his opportunity, we just see him ping-pong around the entire setup. Just look at Genji in this fight. The engage happens first of all. They're trying to move in. Everybody's still alive here, and then it's just slowly one kill after another. And here he goes, one kill, two, goes straight in for Blumby, commits to the third, and then gets the kill against Vala in the backline. Make just fantastic here.
And we have to shout out Nape there. Nape was in a spot where he actually stopped Tiro from using Sanification. That's why we saw Team Liquid start to group up. It got interrupted and went down to 10 seconds. And that's why we saw the Dragon Blade come in and start shredding. Now, with all the bell towers grabbed, shots are already hitting on top of Team Liquid. It falls one by one by one. Finally, Team Liquid gets a bell tower in the bottom. But with 6 shots available because of an altar, Tricked eSport is looking to get even more of a massive lead.
Yeah, the barrage has started, and that's now another 6 shots fired. We are seeing Team Liquid fall to 8 points on their core, and they are still of course not on level 20, which Tricked eSports has already taken, and Tricked is in the lead in this series. They have the 2-1. Now they're focusing on that bot lane again as Team Liquid tries to recover their own bell towers. They come closer to 20, but this is of course a rough match now for Team Liquid.
Team Liquid will hit 20, which will give them a chance here to stay in this game. Again, it is Towers of Doom. This is where we see the most comebacks. They move in for a boss on the top side. They want to eliminate it off the field, make it harder for Tricked eSports to get even more shots on their core. And they'll do it. They'll grab all the shots here as Tricked eSports works on the bell tower on the bottom right.
4 more shots fired towards the left, so at least that's something that they could achieve here. But the bell tower has been taken at the bot lane, 16 to 8 now, when we're looking at the points on the core, and we have Tricked moving in again. But 20 is there, and that's a far flight quiver for Nurok, making it a little bit easier for him to get that damage in against those heroes, but it's all about when Genji is starting to make his move.
That is right. The bell tower survives in the middle. It's down to a small amount of health, but Team Liquid does defend it. They would love to start working on the bell tower on the bottom side, and they can with ETC with the stage dive main here. And noting ETC, he has yet to pick his level 20.
Yeah, EGC EGC has a lot of options that can really make the difference in the fight, but he actually heads at this point straight into the cooldown reduction with Crowd Pleaser here. So we might be able to use that. And here we go. Comes in, hits 2, starts to jump in right away as Sanctification is already on the ground. Make had Divine Shield, but it's over. Splendor, on the other hand, is falling. Couldn't even throw the Ancestral out, and that's a massive problem. Nurok wants to get the kill against Genji, but doesn't get it. And here comes once again Dartmok, pushing them away, moving out. But one of their heroes is already dead. Dartmok might even fall as well. And this is bad news for Team Liquid as they are now facing a 5 versus 3 situation on the map with 2 altars ready to go.
And those 2 altars will end the game if Team Liquid is unable to get one of them. But they also have sappers in the bottom they have to defend. Alex Proji comes in with the drag. He will hit Blumby, burrows, and gets away from the fight. Crosby's on the way too, as well as Make, as they had the tap.
Yeah, Nurok gets an immense amount of damage in, and they are starting to get their kills here. They don't want to finish it up just yet. Do it eventually, but here's already the beast stepping. They know that this is over. Another few shots fired, and this is game. The last channel went through. And Team Liquid loses the game and the series as Tricked eSports takes the 3-1 victory.
A big win here for Tricked eSports, but a devastating loss for Team Liquid. This means their match against the Playing Ducks becomes even more important. They have to get that victory, or they're going to be looking at possible crucibles. So, Team Liquid falling to Tricked eSports. Didn't really expect to say that here in 3-1 fashion.
I mean, Tricked and Liquid are both a bit inconsistent. The players themselves have been talking about it, but after the first map where Liquid looked really strong, I didn't expect it to be happening this way either.
Yeah.
That was very dominant towards the end by Tricked. It felt after the loss on map number 1, they just, yeah, pretty dominantly took the series back. You can argue, of course, about Battlefield of Eternity, where Liquid engaged into a bit of a weird battle that you might argue cost them the game in the end. But Trick just looked strong. And when Make again had Genji supported by Gnappa there, oh boy.
Every time, it's devastating. I think today, you look at it, Trick Esports, when they did find a victory or found themselves ahead, they knew how to handle it and keep it up the entire time. Whereas Team Liquid, when they did get their leads, not so much overall. That big throw on BOE just being very important today, and I would say probably pivotal in this entire Best of 5 series. That kind of stuff really weighs on you, especially when you know in the moment that it was a mistake.
And for TL, I mean, things are getting really rough now. Losing this one was definitely a big problem. And they have another, of course, big match this weekend that's arguably even more important. But at this point, qualifying directly for BlizzCon is basically already impossible.
Well, it's time to talk to Trick Esports as Nape is here to talk to us about the match. Nape, welcome to the HGC once again. It's always good to see your face.
Thank you. I'm happy to see you guys as well.
Well, Nape, you guys got a really big victory today over Team Liquid. How are you feeling right now?
I mean, it feels good. And after that Tom game, like, I don't know, it was so fun playing that game, and it feels good. It's really good.
Tell me about BOE. What happened in that bottom right side where you guys had that big moment where Team Liquid was actually pretty far ahead. They had a really crazy poke composition. You guys had to find a moment to get a kill, and you found 3. What really sparked that fight and really put you guys in a spot to keep the pressure up throughout the rest of the game?
I think it was a 4 versus 5 fight. We had the Haka able to burrow in, and yeah, we got the 4 versus 5 fight. Couldn't be better.
Awesome. Over to Caldor.
I want to ask a little bit about map number 2, because when we saw that too, was that planned? Because we know that sometimes Alex goes for these YOLO moments where he just says, okay guys, we're behind, let's just try this and try to dominate and make that happen. Was that planned from the get-go that you would go into flanks with Syndragosa and also into Falling Sword, or was that simply, we are behind, this isn't working out, this is the one way how we can fight back, let's do it?
It wasn't planned at all, actually. We're behind, and then Alex sees this opportunity, and he says, "I'm gonna go Syndra, boys," and then we just done. And there's go Falling Sword, first time, let's try it, and then it worked.
I mean, it worked really well. You isolated heroes in every single fight, and I mean, Alex just kept getting these flanks, so it was pretty impressive to see it, and I can imagine, as you said, that it was also a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
And on the last map, I mean, were you guys a little bit surprised that you got the Genji and Uther combo there? Because, I mean, it was brutal. In one of the fights, I think it was a quad kill towards the end.
Yeah, we had the trouble with them having the sanctification. So either we had to wait it out until we could actually use the Dragon Blade after the sanct. But I think the fight that went really well was I managed to interrupt the sanctification. And I just yelled to Macke, Dragon Blade, no sanct, and then I just see him smashing. I even misclicked my Divine Shield on Alex, but it worked out.
I mean, it was still a pretty impressive series, so yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, congratulations on your victory. Your next team that you'll face off against is Team Expert. That'll be next week. So, about the matchup, what do you guys think?
I'm not sure. We always feel like we're gonna lose when we go up against Expert.
Sure.
And I think the last 3 games we've won 2 of them, and the other one they won 3-2. So we seem to always have a good matchup into them. But yeah, I think we can give them a game, but I think it can go either way for sure.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go now. But before you go, you have to give me some shout-outs.
Big shout out to Trick Esports. Big shout out to my team. You know, my first win where I was the captain. And yeah, big shout out to you guys and to everyone in Twitch chat, Tried and Get Tricked, and for cheering for us. And yeah, get tricked.
Awesome. Thank you, Nabe. Huge congratulations to Trick Esports as they beat Team Liquid today with a 3-1. Incredible that they just pulled out the random Syndragosa and a Falling Sword in the moment and get the win.
But that's Tricked.
Yeah,
and that's
who they are.
That's also typical for Alex, and I actually think it's the only right choice in that moment. I believe if they would have gone for a completely standard style, then they would probably have lost the the game slow and steadily, since they were so far behind when they finally pulled that combo out. And they might not have practiced with it in particular, but then at the same time, it's something that we have seen in the past, and Alex usually has a pretty good idea about what you can get away with and what the situation demands of you. So that flexibility is something that just makes them so dangerous, and it definitely blindsided Team Liquid and was, as we learned now, in hindsight, the beginning of the end. Well,
Trick eSports gets the victory today, but Team Liquid gets a rougher weekend. We'll be right back with our next series as Playing Ducks faces off against Expert.
In his youth, Genji Shimada lived a carefree and self-indulgent life. But when Genji refused to join his older brother Hanzo in running their clan's vast criminal empire, he was mercilessly cut down and left for dead. Bound by Overwatch and given a new cybernetic body, Genji struggled with his dual nature until the Omnic monk Zenyatta taught him to find inner peace.